Hello, everybody. I'm back. It's been literally weeks since I've done a listening party stream. This was brought to my attention, so I thought, I can fix that. I can do another listening party stream. That's not a problem. I have plenty of cool albums to listen to. So, I had a dig through, and we have stuff to listen to. Look at this hair. It doesn't function all that well under headphones, does it? We'll make do though, won't we? Soon, the man bun, the top knot will appear. Right, let me make sure everything is streaming the way it should. Everything looks like it's streaming okay. It looks like you guys can hear me. 3 days to go, Peter. Yeah, still not looking forward to it. But yeah, we'll have fun. Well, probably won't, to be honest. But... Right. So the plan today is we're going to listen to V, the new Mythology Suite by Symphony X. It's a 20-year-old album now. Jesus. I am a big fan of Symphony X. Big fan of Symphony X. And to be honest, the reason I'm doing this is because I've just written... I'm in the process of writing some new music. Writing some stuff for a YouTube video. In fact, tell you what, why don't I just show you? Do this. This. Where's my face? Why is my face gone? There we go. Share my audio with you. So I wrote this riff. I wrote this thing, and for an upcoming video where I'm comparing the Ormsby and the Mayonnaise 7 strings, and this riff is in 7/4. And I didn't really know how to go about writing some drums in 7/4, at least drums that sounded good in 7/4. So I had my pal Lee help me out, and it made me want to listen to a bunch of Symphony X. So it sounds like this. You get the idea. So very, to me, what I started out writing stuff wanting to write some progressive metal, something modern sounding, 7-string soundy, and then I ended up writing something that, to my ears, sounds like Symphony X. But that would make sense because Symphony X are a huge influence on me. Always have been a huge influence on me. So I thought, you know what, let's listen to some Symphony X. Let's steal some Symphony X. Let's talk about Symphony X. But yeah. We'll do that in a second. So hi everybody, my name is Levi Clay. You have tuned into one of my listening party streams. Listening party streams are brought to you by my friends over on Patreon. Support us over on Patreon. Link in the description if you would like to check us out. It's always very much appreciated. Your support, as little as $1, really goes a long way, especially in these tough and trying times. If that doesn't suit, you can also head on over to Amazon, have a look for one of my books, search for Levi Clay. You will find some of my work. There's a lot of it. There's more coming. So thanks so much. I'm going to explain how a listening party works, so I will not be streaming the album over the airways now because that would be copyright infringement. But there is a link in the description where you can head on over to Spotify, or please do use your streaming app of choice, and we will listen to and stream this album together at the same time. We'll put it on and we'll listen to it. We'll talk about it, tell you the parts I like, tell you the parts I don't like. There's definitely parts in this album I don't like. It's not even my favourite Symphony X album, to be honest. But it's the story. The reason I chose this one is because this is a great album. It's not my favourite Symphony X album. So it is a great album, but it isn't one that I listen to regularly. I listen to The Odyssey and Iconoclast pretty regularly. quite a lot actually, whereas V is a little bit more progressive. It's not quite as heavy, so I don't find myself reaching for it as often. But yeah, so who have we got online? Fernando, how's it going? And James Taylor, how's it going, man? Hopefully y'all, I like y'all. Hopefully y'all are on my Discord server. If you're not, let me share a link with that now. Link for that now. It's going up in the comments section right now. So yeah, that's the listening party concept shared. That's how this works. We have to respect artists' copyright. It's important that you respect artists' copyright, right? So please do get this album loaded up on Spotify or however you're going to listen to it. Mine looks like this. Probably don't want to hear that. I need a drink. Give me a second. I've got a noise gate on so you won't hear any of that fizz, actually. Limeade, absolutely magic. Very refreshing. I just finished teaching at 7:10 and then had to run in and grab some food. And I was thinking I'll just run in, make some noodles or something like that. Something that's literally I can get done in 5 minutes. And then be out here ready to set up. And then when I came in, my wife was like, "Oh, great. Have you come in so you can make some dinner?" And I'm like, "I've got a stream in 20 minutes, babe." And she's like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "Well, what did you want to eat?" And she was like, we've got some hamburgers to make." And I was like, I can probably make and eat hamburgers in 20 minutes. I made myself a big disgusting cheeseburger and it was good. It was very good, but rushed. So I didn't get a chance to have a drink. So apologise. But you will have to put up with me consuming some limeade. Sean Taylor, how's it going? Yeah. Michael Romeo. I'm a huge fan of Romeo's playing. Always have been. He put out that solo album a few years ago, which I was all right. I listened to it a few times. It wasn't Symphony X, which is what I really wanted. I did reach out to him via his press agent about him doing an interview on the channel. And he was up for doing, some promotional stuff for the album. But he doesn't do video interviews. So I could have done a telephone interview with Michael Romeo. But, this is 2020, not 1985. So that'll be a no from me. So there you go. I value you guys and your time so much that I turned down talking to one of my all-time biggest influencers on the guitar because he wouldn't get on Skype. No wonder that album didn't sell. So I was going to actually tell you what, before I tell you the story, if you're enjoying the stream, if you think you are going to enjoy the stream, please do head on over to Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, Twitter, wherever it is that you do your socials, and get this shared. Get this shared out so more people can tune in. Obviously, this isn't the big stream. The big stream is coming Saturday, the 10-hour Steve Vai practice routine. That's going to be fun. King is online. Hope you are well. Yeah, so, all right, here's the story. When I was growing up, I was a really big, let's go back one step further. I was really into Slipknot, and I was really into Slipknot because there was a Total Guitar issue that featured Mick Thompson, Noodles of the Offspring, and Joe Satriani on the cover. I've told this story before. It was definitely one of the first guitar-y things I read, and all three of those guitar players would be massive influences on me. I was a huge Offspring fan. I can still pick up my guitar and play through probably 3 Offspring albums from start to finish. Love Joe Satriani. Really, really love Joe Satriani, and really, really like Slipknot. And then I make reference to the Total Guitar interview where Mick Thompson made reference to some of his shred influences. So I went and checked out these influences, and they became my new thing. That was my new influence. That was my new life, if you like. And that included bands such as Cacophony and Racer X. Awesome. Both of these appealed to me. Really liked those bands. And I dedicated a huge, significant portion of my teenage years to Racer X. I was active on the Racer X forums. That was where people knew me. I was Miss Mistreater on the Racer X forums. So then when I went to college, I was walking around HMV and I saw a CD by a band called Symphony X. And nothing seemed cooler to me than a band with X in their name. It was Symphony X. It was like Racer X, but symphony. It's like classical Racer X. I like classical music. I like neoclassical stuff. This band are probably pretty good. I hadn't heard them though. I had no idea. I just saw them and that was enough of a reason for me to take interest in them. So that year, for Christmas, my sister asked me what I would like for Christmas. And I said, there's this band called Symphony X. I'd love to check out one of their albums. And she got me The Divine Wings of Tragedy and this album. And I immediately loved them. Immediately thought they were fantastic. Really thought they were really, really cool. And the influence that had on me was massive, 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 massive. But not in the way that you would have thought, because I was a lazy kid. Shock horror, I'm a lazy adult, to be honest. I was a lazy kid. So when I wanted to learn something, I needed to be spoon-fed how to learn it, right? So if I wanted to learn some of Michael Romeo's riffs, I needed a tab. I needed a guitar tab. And there wasn't a whole lot of Symphony X guitar tabs. Now, when I say I was lazy, I wasn't so lazy that I didn't work. I've always worked. I've always had jobs. I've always put in the hours, earned the money that I wanted or needed to buy the things that I want in life. That's a good thing to do, good ethic to have, a work ethic. So I've always gone out and worked to earn, to buy the things that I want to buy. So it wasn't that I didn't have money. Well, in the grand scheme of things, I didn't have money. But it wasn't that I didn't have money, it's that the thing didn't exist, right? I couldn't go out and reliably get Symphony X transcriptions. Therefore, I couldn't learn their stuff, okay? That's a bastard of a beard. Weetabix wrapped in velvet. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Simon Smith. It's getting quite long, isn't it? Yeah. We're going for the Viking thing now. Yeah. So couldn't get things if there weren't tabs. But I did spend a lot of money at the time on tab books from Japan. I was spending a lot of money on transcription books from Japan when I was in college. I had a tab book guy out in Japan. He was my dealer, if you like. He used to tell me what he could find. I used to tell him what I'd heard, rumours about existing, and he would see if he could find them for me. And he charged me silly amounts of money to buy them. But I had, massive collection of tab books, all the Racer X stuff. Did you know there's Cacophony tab books that exist? Yeah. There's loads of really cool band scores out in Japan. So I knew stuff existed, and one day I was on eBay and I was looking for tabs, and I typed in Symphony X. I had a look for Symphony X, and what popped up on eBay were some tab books for Symphony X. There were like 5 or 6 tab books. There was a tab book for The Divine Wings of Tragedy. There was a tab book for the new Mythology Suite. There was a tab book for the Odyssey, and there was a tab for Twilight and Olympus. Cool. I needed to have them, but they were expensive. So I was bidding on 3 of them. Annoyingly, I got into a bidding war with my girlfriend at the time, who was trying to buy one of them for me. I beat her, because of course I did, and feel very silly about that, because I didn't know I was in a bidding war with her. She wanted to surprise me. Bidding war with myself. So I got those books, and I have them now. Right? I still have them. I've had these books for, Jesus, wow. I'm probably about 18 years, maybe. Yeah, probably. Maybe. Odyssey came out in, 2003, maybe? Let's have a look. 2002. Yeah, and this was relatively... So probably about 17 years I've had these books, which is cool. Here's my Odyssey, Symphony X, the Odyssey complete tab book. And here's my Divine Wings of Tragedy complete tab book. Okay, so these came through my door. And immediately when I opened them, when I got them and looked at them, my heart sank, right? Because immediately, what's this white strip down the side? They're fake. Well, they're not fake, because the complete guitar score for this album doesn't exist. There is no guitar tab book, okay? So when I opened this and had a look through it, what I immediately found was these are all power tabs that somebody has printed out for the whole album, okay? Power tab. I know power tab well. In fact, it even says at the bottom, generated using power tab editor. So these were guitar tabs that somebody had made. And they're not perfect. Oh, wow, I've never noticed that before. Transcribed by Michael Romeo himself. The original transcription is available at www.symphonyx.com on the Eyes of Medusa. So, wow, that's super fucking cool. Yeah, I have no idea who transcribed this book. No idea who did it, right? But I own it. And I've looked for years and years to find who did these. But what this told me is if you don't know how to play something, if you want to be able to play something and you don't know how to play it, you can. You can learn how to play something because you can transcribe it. You can do it. And if someone out there could transcribe 4 Symphony X albums, all of the guitar parts, all the keyboard parts, and put his own books together and release them, only one copy by the look of things, but if he did that, if somebody's done that, right, maybe one day I could do that. Maybe one day I could make guitar tabs for the things that I wanted to learn. Maybe I could make guitar tabs for the things that other people wanted to learn. Hello, that's what I do for a living now. So I always loved the idea of one day maybe putting a book together of an album from start to finish. And fortunately, I've done multiple of those now. And I've done them legitimately rather than this, which is essentially a bootleg copy of the book. Now, I couldn't find my copy of V, so I only have the Odyssey, and because my bookshelf is in disarray at the moment because we're refurbishing our dining room, which is on hold because, pandemic. But yeah, those books exist. So when it comes to learning things on this record, what I've learned actually is they're not massively accurate. They're good, they're pretty good, but there's definitely bits in them that aren't right, as you get with just about any tab book. And when I say aren't right, I say confidently aren't right. I can't, say with 100% conviction that they're not right, but based on my experience of how things would be played, then they're not right in places. But certainly a great springboard for me to learn from when I was younger. I didn't learn much from them, to be honest, because his playing is too fucking hard. So, yeah, we are going to listen to the new Mythology Suite now. I'm going to make note of things that are cool. I'm going to talk about things that are cool. We're not going to listen to it. Sorry, of course we're not going to listen to it just yet. I need to tell you about the album, don't I? It's been so long since I've done a listening party. I've not even got my fucking VPix thing up. Let's fix that. VPix. Yeah, so I'm going to head on over to Symphony X's Wikipedia, and I'll tell you a little bit about this album. Hello, William Alexander Bolivia Rojas. Brian Shue, there is the man himself, one of my old buddies from the Racer X forums. You won't have seen it, man, but I was just telling a long story about how I got into Symphony X and how it was via Racer X, because they both had an X in the name, therefore they must be cool. Okay, so V, the new Mythology Suite, is the 5th studio album by progressive metal band Symphony X, released on October 10th, 2000 through Inside Out Music. It is a concept album dealing with the story of Atlantis, ancient Egyptian mythology, and astrology. The album is the band's first to feature its current and longest lineup, following the arrival of bassist Mike LePond, and the return of drummer Jason Rullo. Rullo? I'm sure there's an I in there. Rullo. As well as being a heavier continuation of the band's established progressive metal style, V also includes a multitude of excerpts from classical compositions, including Verdi's Messa de Requiem, Mozart's Requiem Mass in D minor, Bach's Concerto for harpsichord in D minor, Kantisha, and Bartok. There's lots of classical melodies in there. Symphony X's 1998 album, Twilight in Olympus, was released without a title track. Instead, the unfinished compositions from those sessions were later reworked and distributed in fragments throughout V, particularly on the final track, Rediscovery Part 2, The New Mythology. Guitarist Michael Romeo has since confirmed this. About half of Rediscovery Part 2 is the song Twilight in Olympus, maybe a little bit more. When it comes to critical reception, Robert Taylor at AllMusic gave V the New Mythology Suite 3 out of 5, saying, as a whole, V the New Mythology Suite works and proves that Symphony X has chosen to expand rather than repeat history in a genre that has appeared to have peaked both creatively and technically. You get the idea. So, yeah, cool. So it is like they say, it's the classic Symphony X lineup. When it comes to Symphony X, they're a band that has always had an evolving sound. When I think of Symphony X, they have their first album, self-titled Symphony X, which doesn't feature Russell Allen on vocals. I don't like that album. It's a little bit over the top and dramatic, theatrical, if you like. When you get onto the Damnation Game, the first album of Russell Allen, it's still very theatrical in its sound. It's a little bit almost like a pastiche of neoclassical. I find it hard to really relate to that record. After that came The Divine Wings of Tragedy. Now, this isn't, certainly wouldn't call this a heavy album, though it's got heavy moments on it. My favourite track on that album is The Eyes of Medusa, which I've done a video teaching on YouTube. It's a great track, or at least teaching parts of it. But yeah, certainly not a heavy album, definitely very progressive. And then Twilight and Olympus gets a little bit heavier, but still maintains a lot of that progressiveness. Now, the V, New Mythology Suite record, is a real nice balance of progressive and heavy. It's right in the middle if you think in terms of a fader switch. Because when you go on to the next album, which would be the Odyssey, that one gets a little bit heavier and a little bit less prog. And then when you go on to Paradise Lost, well, that's even heavier and less prog. Iconoclast, we're starting to lose most of the prog influences. And Underworld, the prog is an influence on this rather than part of the sound to me, is how I would describe it. So yeah, the New Mythology Suite it's a great record, and it's got a nice blend of progressive rock elements and the heavy metal side of things. So cool. Let me bring it up. Again, if you have just tuned in, and a lot of you will have just tuned in, this is a listening party stream. In fact, I'm going to do it like this. This is a listening party stream. I cannot stream the music over my YouTube stream. That would be copyright infringement. So there is a link in the description. Please do head on over to Spotify or iTunes or Tidal or Deezer. Is that a place where you can stream music? I don't know. Yeah, please do head on over to one of those. Queue up the album. We will hit play together. We'll listen to it together. We'll talk about it, but you won't be able to hear it over my stream because that would be copyright infringement. But again, you can contribute. Your interaction makes these streams what they are. So get involved in those comment sections. And I'll prove it. Because I'm always reading them. Let's see what we've got. So it's the first Symphony X album without bass. What do you mean without bass? You trying to tell me there's no bass on this record? Because that would be silly. Planet X Japan, Symphony X Race. Yeah, so I did actually think of telling that side of things. My logic was any band that had the word X in were a band that were cool, and therefore I wanted to check out. Therefore, Symphony X I had to check out. Planet X I had to check out. The first Planet X album I got was Quantum, which is still one of my favourite progressive jazzy fusion albums. Got Brett Garsed on it and Holdsworth, of course. And yeah, same with X Japan. And X Japan were cool because not only did they have X, but they also had Japan. I mean, fucking hell, how cool is that? Yeah. Jimmy Herring's Project Z. I do not like Project Z. I do not like Project Z at all. King's X and Phil X, yeah. So Brian says the Odyssey was his favourite. That album was one that really got me in Symphony X. Yeah, I mean, I wanted to stream the Odyssey. That was what I wanted to do. But honestly, I listened to that album so regularly. I wouldn't be hearing anything new on that album. I know that album fucking inside out. And I know this album really well, but not in the same way that I know the Odyssey. That album, I know that album so fucking well. Yeah. So I would always say that that's my favourite, but actually as the years have gone by, I think I prefer Iconoclast now. Iconoclast is probably my favourite Symphony X record because it's even heavier and I like heavy. Okay, cool. So I've got this album queued up on Spotify and I'm going to hit play on it. And I'm going to hit play on it in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Choral stuff. There we go. And I love this power metal. I was also really into power metal bands when I was younger. Is this the Requiem? I can't look in there. It's not in there. And there we go. So evolution, the grand design. The thing I love about Romeo's playing is highlighted in this. Try learning these riffs. The strength that that Michael has in that fretting hand is unbelievably good. Eric doesn't listen. Honestly, just the legato in those riffs, it's just... He's got one of the strongest hands in metal. It's brutal. I think Michael's like a full package when it comes to metal. He's a great rhythm guitar player, very creative riff writer, unbelievable soloist, has a wonderful musical vision. I could literally point at multiple points on my album, the Hellcat album, where in the guitar solo I'm literally just quoting things that Michael Romeo played. Gotta respect the copyright owner, Eric. You can always see where I am in the album, load it up on Spotify, get listening. Oh yeah, man, Loomis's riffs, just ridiculous. My hand hurts just listening to these riffs. When I got my Michael Romeo signature, the comparison, I was learning a bunch of these songs to do some cover videos, and I just couldn't get them to that speed consistently. You could actually have a lot of fun transcribing the vocal parts on this, the vocal harmonies, the way those harmonies, the kind of choral elements of them support those melodies. That's kind of cool. And this is, for me, this is peak Russell Allen vocals, because on this he's actually singing. On the newer records, he does more of the gruff, the yeah. He sings on this, and it's great. It's not ridiculous like on Damnation Game. I always find it laughable when you hear people they write off Michael Romeo as just a Malmsteen clone. Like, what the fuck? What do you mean? What do you mean a Malmsteen clone? He sounds nothing like Malmsteen. Nothing like Malmsteen. Okay, he dresses like Malmsteen. He's overweight like Malmsteen. He doesn't play like Malmsteen. He doesn't sound anything like Malmsteen. You could say that both guitar players are neo-classical, sure, but if you want to be really accurate about things, you'd probably call Malmsteen neo-baroque, and you'd call Michael Romeo neo-romantic. You hear all the... You would never hear the sort of augmented sounds that you hear in Romeo's music, in Malmsteen's music. You just... Just what I sing. Yeah, Brian, you should do a video of one of these. The first to understand. Sea of Lies is another one of those bastards. Yeah. I think Prelude is probably the easiest Symphony X song. I think Fallen might have been actually. So tell a lie. The song Fallen. There was a video of Fallen that somebody had made with anime cartoon stuff over the top of it. It made like their own little music video that was on Daily Motion, and I guess I did hear that before I actually, my Symphony X CDs showed up. Again, Fallen's a really cool song. Very progressive now, so you have all the guitars and just that fade in to the next song. This is a concept album and it should be played from start to finish. What's up, James Yellow? How's it going, dude? A dropkick from Romeo. I saw a picture of Romeo just recently. He looks like he's lost a lot of weight. I love Romeo for time signature stuff. Like, I'll often use him with students and I'll say, what time signature is this? Let's listen to this. What time signature is? So guitars are all in 4, right? But what about that piano part? Digga-dum, digga-digga-dun-dun-dun, dun-ga-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, digga-digga-dun-dun-dun-dun, digga-dum, digga-digga-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. That's a super cool riff. All that syncopation in there, very cool. Yeah, I think Symphony X have got consistently better with time. I saw them twice on the Underworld tour and they were fantastic. I've seen Symphony X live probably 5 times now, and every single time they kicked the shit out of everything else I've seen. And a lot of that's probably emotional because I have such an emotional connection to the band, but honestly, just kicked the shit out of everything else. Romeo just so good live. He wasn't his best last time saw him. I went to see them one time, and over the course of the gig, Romeo throwing his picks out. I caught 4 picks. Digga-dum, digga-digga-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, digga-digga. All that syncopation in there, really cool. Digga-digga-dun-dun-dun, ba-dum-bum-bum-bum-bum. Oh, way pre-gent riffing. This is 2000. Most gent guitarists weren't born at this point. That's probably a little bit unfair. I think probably the pioneers of gent were all born around the time I was born, right? Again, those big vocals, the choral, or almost choral. It actually annoys me. It offends me that Symphony X have never put out a live DVD. It actually offends me. Okay, so now we get that really cool classical section now. Very cool. Oh, Romeo all fucking day long. All day long. If you gave me the choice, right, if you told me you can click your fingers and then for the rest of time we would either get 100 more Dream Theater albums and 1 Symphony X album, or no Symphony X albums, or 1 Symphony X album and no more Dream Theater albums, I'm going to go for that 1 Symphony X album. It's not even close. The interaction between the guitar and the keyboard, lovely. What's a good album to start listening to Symphony X? It depends how progressive you want stuff to be, James. This is a great place. I think it really depends what your tolerance for production is. A lot of Symphony X fans will tell you that The Divine Winter Tragedy is their best album, and it's good. Don't get me wrong, it's a great album, but the production is nowhere near as good as the later albums. If you're more like me and you more metal, if you're a metal guy, then it would have to be Iconoclast. Iconoclast is great, but their last album, Underworld, is a great record. Paradise Lost is a great place to start too, yeah. The thing with Paradise Lost is it's got Serpent's Kiss on there, which is a fucking weird song to have released as a single. Odd time signatures, like it's something about that song never sat right with me. Just to be on the album, let alone for it to be the lead single from the album. That's really the point. So everybody's recommended a different Symphony X album, and you should see why, because it's not like recommending a Sum 41 album, you know? Every single Symphony X album is different. It's not like recommending a Malmsteen album, trilogy. It's not like recommending a Malmsteen album where they all sound the same. Every single Symphony X album has its own personality, its own character. Russell Allen is one of the most mighty vocal. I miss Chris's comment, but yeah. He was so theatrical when I saw him last time. He had the masks and he was wearing the mask and acting shit out on stage. He was great. Really good. Pete Morris is online. How's it going, man? Oh, so that was actually Pete's question. Yeah, Romeo all day long. Boom, boom, 2, 3, 1, 2. Time signature there, right? Count it. What is it? So it's 5/4 and then 11/8. 5/4 11/8. Symphony X does hair metal. I don't know about that. I don't even know what it is about Serpent's Kiss that I don't like. Yeah. So Zach's, I don't know if you were listening. Well, obviously you weren't listening earlier. At the start of the stream, I was talking about their evolution of sound and how each album sounds very different. And for me, this album is the middle ground between metal and progressive. Everything after here gets progressively more metal. I certainly wouldn't say that the next album is they went all metal, because the next album has the song The Odyssey on there, which is a 24-minute concept song. There we go. 24-minute concept song telling the story, like Homer's Odyssey. Now, I don't really like this side of Symphony X. This is prog. It's not heavy enough. I want the riffage. Give me that Michael Romeo fucking riffage. The thing I really like about this is, I'd recommend you check out the song Nevermore. If you want to get into Symphony X, try that song. The thing I like about this is when I was younger, I always asked the question, when someone like Michael Romeo writes a riff like this, writes sections like this, is he just being obtuse with his time signatures? Does he use these time signatures because he can, or because that's what he hears? But when you hear this new metal song that I've written, where the main riff is in 7/4, I totally wrote it that way because it felt right to have it loop that way. So yeah, Romeo's sense of time is just, these all feel very natural. Da da ba 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 da 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 da. That offbeat hi-hat is really cool. All right, what have I missed? My teacher said that you can't mix different tempos and time signatures like 6/8 and 7/4. I think it's bullshit. Yeah, I think your teacher's an idiot. We're going to get a good example of that being incorrect, actually, as this album goes on the song Absence of Light. Really cool solo there, though. Romeo's solo patterns has this momentum gain thing. Super 8 getting a beat out and then rise again, slay the villas. It's a very dramatic way of putting it. Yeah, so Zach, so you weren't talking about the Odyssey, you were talking about iconic Paradise Lost. It's the one after, yeah. That's definitely a even more fucking metal than Odyssey. But then you go one more, Iconoclast, which is now my favourite Symphony X album. That album might as well not... It'd be offensive to call it prog. Two, three, four. It's just the time signature shifts are just all over the place, and it's so cool. If you want to be an ultimate badass, learn the song Nevermore, right? Learn the thing that Michael Romeo plays in the chorus of that song. Jesus is hard on the hand. This is almost Holdsworth. Probably less there. That's like Holdsworth and Sean Lane. Beautiful. Wow. So dramatic. Ah! There's like an authenticity about his key changes, right? And it's because he's so schooled in his compositional style. Like you hear so much. He'll always talk about like guys like John Williams being a big influence on him, and you hear it. It's very theatrical. It's very film scorey. It's dramatic. But harkening back to the classical music, like the classical conventions, the modulations are where you would expect them to be. Oh yeah, no one would ever pick James LaBrie over Russell Allen, would they? I'm still a little bit taken aback by by that solo on that track. That totally blew over me when I was younger, but now I hear that and I'm like, Jesus, that's like really slick, almost like, as I say, Holdsworth-esque. Oh, I wouldn't recommend studying music in college. No, I did. You don't need a qualification to do any jobs in music, right? My degree has never helped me get work in music. In fact, when I was at music school, we were told to lie about it. If anyone ever asked if you were doing an audition for something, and they asked if you ever went to music school, tell them no. Bam, bow, dun 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 dun, bow, dun dun, digga 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 dun. Oh, awesome! And this riff. That China cymbal on the offbeat. Ah! Ah! I'm just going to scream into the mic there. Sorry, I know you didn't want to hear that, but that's so fucking heavy. Can someone please explain it to Fit to Praise, please? But even then, Brian, like, it's not my degree in music performance that helps me get a gig teaching in a school. What you really want is qualifications in teaching. Like, at least certainly over here, you'd want to do a PGC qualification in education. Jason's drumming is really good. The grand design. There is a link in the description where you can listen to this album. I cannot stream this album over my stream because that would be copyright infringement. And I'll never be a reaction channel that thinks the way he can just make content is just to just steal what other people have made. I'm going to give everyone else another heads up because I'm going to be doing a transcription of his real soon. Everyone's talking to Brian Shu in the comments, right? Go to his YouTube channel. Watch this guy play. Ridiculously good player. I do like Romeo's use of the bar. Whew. That was a very strange tone. It was like wah, but not wah. It was like wah, but he'd stopped himself from ever being able to press it all the way down. Those fucking chord changes are just so dramatic. I mean, I guess when you add like a organ to behind something like that, it's always going to sound dramatic, but I think we're about to listen to the Breath of Poseidon, and I think there was a comment earlier about Breath of Poseidon. I think, is it about the whammy bar stuff? I've just seen Sean Taylor's comment about the official DVD. I have that. That's not an official DVD, is it? I'm talking a pro shot thing. I know it was a comment about Accolade. Someone asked about scales, maybe at the end of Breath of Poseidon. When I listen to this just strikes me as like Michael Romeo flexing his compositional muscles and arranging muscles, because it's one thing to be able to, you know, write a riff on a guitar, but to envisage an entire composition, an entire musical vision from nothing. He will have sat with a piece of paper, pen and paper, and composed this, wrote it, and to paint a picture for us. And he's great at it. He's really good at it. And okay, I say he's really good at it. He's certainly not. He's not one of the greats in terms of uniqueness. I don't think Romeo has a sound. He does on the metal scene, but really he's just your classic film composer type thing. He can write like other people, is what I would say, but he's damn good at it. And I think the thing that Brian has missed out there is that there's always going to be uber qualified musicians who can't get any work. So uplifting, this section, these rising major chords, just I wouldn't say that. There's definitely a worth studying. It's funny, I don't know if Brian would agree with me on this, because I know Brian has a music school experience like myself. I spent a shit ton of my time telling people that music school is terrible and it's not what you should do if you want to go out there and achieve something in the music industry. It's a waste of your money, it's a waste of your time. And then I always have to stop and say, but if I were to go back and do everything again in my life, I wouldn't change it, because it's still part of why I am where I am. Is that true about the death of balance? The end of Lacrimosa. Well, the actual Lacrimosa part of Lacrimosa is so good. This could be a film cue in like Star Wars. Immediately sounds like Egypt, which I just noticed recently is something that they didn't manage to do. One of my favourite films of all time is Aladdin, the Disney animated film. When you listen to the first tune in that, like, fuck's the name of the tune? All I can hear is this. Got to keep one step ahead of the thing that Aladdin sings as he's running through the such a good riff. The thing Aladdin sings, when you listen to the music in that, it sounds like West End show music or Broadway show jazz stuff. There's just no Agrabah in there. At least this kind of hits us with the vibe of Egypt for a bit. Well, you were lucky in that respect, Brian, because I spent my time in music school surrounded by some like-minded musicians, but mostly people that just didn't want to go and get a real degree, so their parents paid for them to go to music school. It's just lovely chord changes behind that melody. There's a good question for Brian, because I'd love to. I know you're not with Ubisoft anymore, are you, Brian? It was Ubisoft, wasn't it? Yeah. I would love to find out how you got hooked up with the Ubisoft job, though. That would be an interesting story to tell people. It's funny because as far as concept albums go, I'm not deep on the concept of this album. It's not like I can listen to the Odyssey and I can tell you every single aspect of the story, of the mythology behind it. Whereas the new Mythology Suite, not so much. I can't tell you anything about Atlantis. So what Brian said there is what I have always said. Someone asked me about this recently, about going to music school, etc. What should I do in order to make sure I succeed at music school? And I said, don't listen to a single fucking thing you learn in music school. It doesn't matter. None of that is important. What's important is that you use the time while you're there to get to know people, network. It's not about what you know. It's always been about who you know. I have never, ever landed any work in this industry because of what I know. It's always been who I know. Sure, it helps that I know people and they know me and they know that I know my stuff. That helps. But it's always been who I know. There are so many people out there that know just as much, if not more, than me. I'm not like a god when it comes to knowledge, right? I know a lot, but I don't know everything. I'm certainly not unique. I'm not in a league of my own. There are many people out there that know tons more than me, but none of them have got any work, and it's because they don't know anybody. So network. Okay. So this is, some people say this is Romeo's best. Okay, so you're still at Ubisoft. Right, okay. My bad. I just saw that the Rocksmith stuff is not happening. That whammy bar stuff there. That riff, which is made infinitely cooler, I might point out, by the keyboard part that's over the top of it. If you just had that riff without that keyboard part, nah. Brian's hit the nail on the head there. Like, to have landed such an amazing job by making a good impression with somebody, that's how it happens. It's just how it happens. I'm not a good example when it comes to networking, right? Because I don't suffer fools, right? I'm never going to pretend I like someone that I don't like. A good networker will pretend they like someone they don't. There's lots of people out there that I work with that I know they hate me. I know they hate every single thing about me, right? But they just put on a smile and they act like a professional because I'm a good person to have around. And that's fine, right? I understand why they're like that. I'm never going to be that guy. So getting to know people, be respectful, be kind. I've met a lot of people in this industry. If I hadn't got to know Tom Quayle or Andy James or Martin Goulding or any of these guys that for some reason took a liking to me and helped me up the ladder professionally, I wouldn't be where I am. Yeah, Jay's hammer on the head, nail on the head there. Yeah. People thought I was ridiculous when I was at university doing my degree. I went out to Germany to go to Frankfurt Music Messe and do things like that. They're like, "Who do you think you are? Like, you're not a celebrity. Like, you're not. You should be here doing your studying. Like, why do you think you're so much more important than everyone else? Why do you take yourself more seriously than everyone else?" And it's like, because when I finish this degree, I need work. I need to know people. I need to have all my contacts. I don't want to finish my degree and go, right, time to start a business. I had to come out of university and immediately have enough money to pay rent. We say this was written around a Jason Rulo drum solo. Those chord stabs are so fucking cool. I was gonna do a stream of Passion and Warfare tonight, the Vi album, but it would be difficult for me to listen to that and pretend I like it. I love this. Just the hitting those on the second 16th note, super cool. I totally believe this was written around a drum solo now I listen to it, yeah. I like these listening parties that make me smile, like my cheeks hurt. What, like half-time metric modulation there, actually? It feels like we slowed down by a factor of a third. You just never know where you are with it. It's so cool. Ridiculous little guitar part, just so in the background. It's like he had reverb on there with a mix on 99%. That was all wet. There is a question. Would I enjoy Vi's music more than the workout? I don't know. If I practice for 10 hours, at least I don't have to listen to Passion and Warfare and pretend I like it. Oh, yeah. Paying to be good at a lot of things. If I had to feed my family based purely on my ability to play the guitar, I make money playing guitar. I do a reasonable amount of sessions. Like I have a lot of like recording things that come in for me, but certainly not enough to like consistently pay my mortgage. It's my transcription skills and my entertainment skills, my writing skills. I've done a lot of ghostwriting for magazines for famous artists that can't write. Over the years, it's not a music skill, but it's just you have to have a full package, don't you, to make a living in this industry. Waleed is online. The Viking look. Let's get out. That's what happens when you have to cut your own hair. Okay, so Absence of Light and A Fool's Paradise were the two songs that when I got this album, I learned to play most of. What don't I like about Passion and Warfare? The fact that you have to pretend to like it. Liberty is just a ridiculous anthemic, cheesy. It sounds like a national anthem. It sounds like he's trying to rewrite the national anthem. Ballerina, it's got no business being on that record. Is Alien Waterkiss on that record as well? No business. Like, it's just hatred. Dum dum dagga dagga dum bum 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 dagga 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 da dum 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 dagga dagga dum 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 dagga 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 dum dum dum. That's a very cool riff. Cool time signatures. I don't like the riddle. I don't like For the Love of God, because while it's a really strong melody, it's so like, oh, let me show you how cultured I am. Like, oh, you can hear all this world music influence. And then you have songs like The Riddle. The Riddle's cool. But I also listen to The Riddle and I'm like, where's the melody? It feels like through composed music. So yeah. Erotic Nightmares is on that record. I like that track. I like Erotic Nightmares. How could I learn the basics of sight reading for guitar? The William Leavitt Berkeley Press books. That riff is there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1. Yes, in 7. That was the first riff I wrote. First riff I learned that was in 7, and it it just felt so cool to play something that was in 7/8, but didn't feel like you were counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It just the contour of the rhythm felt natural. Yeah. What solo guitar album do I like? That's a difficult one because I don't like a lot of instrumental guitar records. I mean, there's a lot of solo guitar records that I like. To be fair, it's just not what I usually go for. For some reason, I'm wanting to say intervals. Is it the way forward? Which albums have you listened to, Jay? I'd recommend you listen to the later ones. These earlier ones where he's singing more. It's very, like, I keep saying theatrical, and I mean theatre-like. Whereas on, like, Iconoclast, it's not shouty, but he's using the gravel in his voice, and I like that. I like you, Timothy. That's what we needed. Yeah. So instead of that, like, The Adventures of Bumblefoot is a great instrumental guitar record. I like that. But it isn't something I find myself listening to a whole lot of. I've always been more into the songs. Again, going back to talking about guys like Brian, like, we grew up on the Racer X forum. So Racer X were a huge influence, and then Symphony X, etc. This was where I spent my time. There's always a singer. There's always a band. When Paul Gilbert went solo and did instrumental music rather than doing his solo band stuff, when he released Get Out of My Yard in 2006, like, it didn't do it for me. Just didn't do it for me. Awesome, Brian. Thanks for tuning in, man. Keep your eyes peeled. I'm going to be transcribing one of your videos on YouTube soon. Ebony, Pete. Ebony. There's a riff in this song, actually. If there was one riff on this album that you should learn, it's... I'll give you the time code for it. It comes in at about 48 seconds. I forget it. That riff's a great riff. Lots of strength in the hand to pull it off as well. Even now we're sitting and talking about Symphony X and therefore Michael Romeo. I'm not really interested in Michael Romeo's The Dark Chapter album, which is his instrumental album that came before Symphony X. Plain black ebony. There was more to that story, why I was asking about maple or ebony. Mrs. Clay ready for the 10-hour practice. She's working as well, so she starts work at 2:30 on that day and finishes at midnight. So I'd scheduled my live stream so we would finish at the same time. His new solo album was better, yeah. It still wasn't Symphony X though, to be honest. So going back to that DS era motif from the start of the record, it's on Prelude, isn't it? Great solo. Yep. Classic Romeo lick that, those sliding thirds. No, I'll never transcribe any of Paul Gilbert's slide stuff. Paul won't go down as an important slide guitar player, will he? In the same way that Paul Gilbert will never go down as one of history's great blues players. Bop 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 bop. Bop 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 bop. Bop 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 bop. Actually makes me really regretful listening to this, right? Because this entire section, this classical harpsichord unison thing, string skippy tappy thing, I never learnt this when I was younger, and I should have. I could have, but for laziness, whatever you want to, for whatever reason, I didn't, and I don't have it in me to learn that anymore. Digga-digga-din, digga-digga-din. Digga-din, digga-digga-din, 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 digga-digga-din. The kids of we played famine and war. We can't go on like this anymore. I shouldn't sing, sorry. I think we're probably I'm probably no one watching this stream that's 12, right? Probably all a little bit older in life, I would imagine, mid-20s onwards, right? I'm 31, 32 soon, 32 this year, not soon. No, it's soon, I guess. 32 this year, and the thing I've learned is you look back on who you were as a kid, and you always go, "Fuck, could have done better. could have done better. Could have spent my time better." That if only I could wind back time thing. Still would have gone to music school though. Okay, Benjamin 16. Well, there you go. Now you know Benjamin. So you got to learn that. A Fool's Paradise. Learn the, because you'll only reach my age and look back with regret if you don't. That's the biggest regret, is not learning more Symphony X. Actually, I wouldn't give you that advice. I would say write more songs. Just keep writing. Write songs. It's so easy to forget why most of us picked up the instrument in the first place. It was because we love music and we wanted to make music. And I look at my life now and I'm like, okay, well, I've released 2 albums, but really, it's like 12 songs of music I've put out, and I've written a bunch of other things, but I just don't finish things, and that shouldn't be the way it is. I need to put more time into finishing stuff. So this was originally Twilight in Olympus. I have to say, maybe this is just the bias I have towards progressive music in general, because there's so much happening, because you're always on your toes, right? This album is an hour and 2 minutes long. We are 50 minutes into it now. It's not outstayed its welcome. Like, I'm still happy that it's going on. And I have found in some of these listening parties that you get 30 minutes into an album and you're just like, I could listen to something else now. I mean, I say learn that. Don't. Learn the Odyssey from start to finish. I was just going to grab the tab book, but I've put it on the floor. So who's tuning in on Saturday for the Steve Vai 10 hour? That's really soon. I'm just thinking I'm pretty jam-packed right up until it. I need to put some rest in. I have to teach tonight at 1 o'clock in the morning, and then teaching tomorrow and doing a podcast tomorrow. I've got some teaching to do on Friday. I've got to do a stream on Friday for my patrons, and then Saturday it happens. So I'd really like a day where I can just sit and relax. That great little fast part in the riff there. Woo! Robert, I'm gonna warn you. I'm gonna be cheating. Okay, I'm gonna have people calling in and talking to me. I'm gonna start the stream talking about practice for half an hour. It will not be 10 hours of me actually practicing. I can tell you that. It's gonna be 10 hours of me trying to entertain people. Here's a fun one though. So Chris Brooks, author, colleague of mine, he keeps an eye on the Amazon charts, the top 100 Kindle books, and he does that because his books obviously are in there, and he likes to track what's selling and what's not selling. So he keeps an eye on the top 100, and he said for the last year Steve Vai's practice book hasn't broken the top 100, and he said it's currently in the top 50. And he is saying that I am to blame for that. Like, that is me that has done that. So hopefully a bunch of people are going to fucking join in on this. There must be a Kindle version of it. I mean, Chris was telling me about a Kindle. It might not have been the Kindle version. People might have just been buying the actual book. Let's have a look. There we go. That piano. Super cool. Super cool. Super cool. Yeah, there's a Kindle version of the Steve Vai guitar workout book that you can buy. It's like £7.50. Yeah, so again, still couldn't really tell you what the story that this album tells is. It's worth pointing out, Zach, that the book is maybe 30 pages, and only about 10 pages of that is devoted to the 10-hour practice routine. So don't think that you're getting a lot of content for your money. And as I say, the reason I wanted to listen to this record again is talking about songwriting and composition. Like, I want to inspire myself to be writing. And when you listen to a record like this, it reminds you that there's really no fucking rules when you're writing, is there? I love that that Romeo, he's not in a drop tuning. He's tuned down a tone. I'll give him that for that little bit of heaviness. But all of his chord voicings, he's not relying on drop D tuning or anything like that. That's cool. Always like that about Opeth as well. I'm going to expand the 10-hour practice routine into my own, my own take on it, my own way to extract material out of it. See that lick there? See both of those licks there, right? Both of those two licks. Both of those licks are on my song Whiskey and Heresy. Don't know what's going on with the vocal process in there. Modulations, building, key change. Let's build. Let's get it home. What a grand way to end an album. The chords changed, but over a static bass note, a static pedal, even. There you go. Ba ba da ba 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 da da. What an epic end! Beautiful end. There we go. I actually just want to play one of my tracks for you. Spotify anymore. You don't want that. You want just to quote those Romeo riffs, licks. I shamelessly put them in my own music, not deliberately, but because he's, you know, a big influence. Intro solo, not really Romeo. Lick one. There's lick two. This is Doug Cartwright on guitar. Well done, Doug. Cool. Right, I'm going to see if there's any last questions, any last comments, anything that anyone wants to anything anyone wants to ask. Oh, Lucas has got me. Yeah, it's Superior Drummer. Superior Drummer. Oh, a Haken listening party. That'd be cool. Yeah, I'd be up for that. That'd be cool. I think I'm going to do a reasonable amount of progressive, but also power metal stream. So in my mind, I've got a few albums planned for these moving forward. Next up, I'm going to be doing the album Only Human by the band Advance. That's Olaf Lenk on guitar. Great power metal record. In fact, why don't I just show you? Spotify. There you go. So we will be doing Advance. their 2002 record, Only Human. Probably do like this, you'll see better. We'll do the Advance album, Only Human. Great record. Really, really fucking good record, actually. Unbelievably cool guitar playing, great songs, all of that stuff. Yeah, you get the idea. So Advance, Only Human. We'll also be doing Act. We're going to listen to the Act album, Last Epic, which is one of my favourite concept albums. This is a great album, so we'll do that from start to finish. We will also do so Haken, I'll probably what I do Affinity? I'm probably going to do Vector, to be honest, because I love Vector. The stories I could tell about Haken in this album live before it came out, and they were all fucking dressed up. Fucking weirdos. Oh, I love those guys. Yeah, and I'm also going to do this album, Parkdale Funk. Now this is a two-hour album, so this will be a long one. But yeah, those are albums that I have planned to do listening parties of moving forward. So hopefully that appeals to some of you. Right, cool. Let's have a look. So Lee, Pete, that is my drummer, Lee Costanza. He did the drums on that, and they're superior triggers, superior samples. Yeah. So that's 11 on vocals. No, it's not. It's Oliver Hartman on vocals on the Advance album. Advance are a great band. Looking forward to it. Never heard these bands. Cool. I hope you enjoy it, King. Favorite concept album? Yeah, Act's Last Epic is one of my favorite concept albums. Really is. Really great concept album. Pete wants me to listen to Affinity. And Zach is right. Casey Roberts absolutely rules. And this album, Parkdale Funk, this album is hot fire. Honestly, absolutely fucking hot fire, that record. One of my favourite albums of the last 10 years. No doubt. Really good record. Really good record. Right, cool. So thank you very much for tuning in, guys. I did it while we were listening to my music, but I'll do it one last time. Massive thank you to my supporters over on Patreon. If you can spare $1, there's a link in the description to my Patreon page, and you can support me for, as I say, as little as $1 over there. It's all appreciated, it all helps, all makes a big difference. So thank you very much for those of you that are supporters. Yeah, you rock. If that doesn't suit you, that's of course absolutely fine. I'm not going to start charging you for my YouTube videos, but if you would like to check out one of my books, please do head on over to Amazon, have a look for Levi Clay. You will see some of my work. Yeah, you get the idea. Oh yeah, of course. So Pete, sorry, I forget how I know you. Of course you know who Lee is. Yeah, Lee did the drums on my album. Yeah, so thank you very much for tuning in, guys. It means a lot. Lee's outrageous. He's doing some drums for some stuff I'm working on at the moment. He's just he's a freak. He's just an absolute freak. A musical freak. He's just, yeah. Love him. Very talented, very inspiring person. So, yeah, cool. Right, as always, love you guys very much. Thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, share, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your enemies. I'll be recording the Guitar Souls podcast tomorrow, so expect that to go up soon. Much love, and I will see you on Saturday for the 10-hour Steve Vai live stream. Oh, what am I doing?